Hey there, hope all is well. Back here today with some more RTD news updates. And as you can tell from today's title, pension crisis notification letters. I'm going to be talking about the subject of pensions and retirements and things like that of what's happening in the news today. And also share with you something that's very troubling to me as I came across hundreds, possibly even thousands of letters that were mailed out to retirees and those that are expecting to receive some type of retirement benefit. And the news inside of those letters, it pretty much lets them know that they are in trouble and that they may not be receiving what they were promised. So I got about 3 or 4 articles I want to cover, as well as the link so that you can go actually read some of these notification letters for yourself. And perhaps you may know of someone that might have received one of these or a couple of these, because I believe that what I'm going to show you today is just the first round of letters that probably went out, which since then I'm sure there's been many more. So as always, if you're new to RTD, click the subscribe button for more RTD news updates, as well as interviews. And as well as if you're new to the whole Rethinking a Dollar concept, I want to encourage you to visit the RTD University page, where I cover all of my past interviews, really laying out the idea of what Rethinking the Dollar means and how important it is for you to begin, thinking beyond the current narrative of what we've been taught as far as saving and fiat federal dollars that are, diminishing in purchasing power by the day. But other than that, let's dive into today's news. So as I mentioned, I have 3 articles as well as a link to the site where you can go check out some of these notification letters for yourself. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a matter of understanding how serious this matter is, as far as the fact that there's a lot of private as well as public institutions that are way underfunded, which means a lot of people are not even aware of the fact that their retirements and pensions are at stake or at risk of being lost altogether. And so here I want to share just 3 articles briefly, give you an idea what's going on. And then as always, you can find the information down below. And also I appreciate the feedback that I've received from a lot of viewers that enjoy the news updates. And so they recommend that I kind of shorten them up a little bit. So I'm going to try that today and see how it works. So the very first one here is from Go Local Prov out in Rhode Island, and it's from a small news syndicate, and it says here, St. Joseph bankruptcy. Diocese failed to make contributions to employee pension funds for years. And then the next one here is from the NJ.com, or it's from a small little news syndicate in New Jersey, and it says, can it be? Good news about New Jersey's public workers' pensions. And it has a great video here that kind of lays out how the whole pension crisis has been brewing for several years, and how all the governors rather decided to kick the can down the road. But yet Chris Christie seems to be trying to do a good job as far as trying to add a little bit more funds to it, but it may not work. Then the next one here is from the Paducah Sun. It's another small news syndicate in Kentucky. And it lays out how serious the pension crisis there is and who's all infected. And it actually gives you some good numbers as to, the number of people that will be impacted by the situation there. And then the very last one here is it's the link to the United States Department of Labor, where it lists, all the hundreds, possibly even thousands of newsletters or letters that went out initially throughout the years to those that are should expect to see some type of problem with their pension retirement there. So let's get into the very first one briefly. And I kind of highlighted a little bit to give you an idea of what I'm going to cover. But I'll give you an idea of this small isolated event in the state of Rhode Island, how serious it is, I believe, for those that are impacted, but yet a good idea for what's happening around us and what could be for others that are expecting pensions as well. So it says here, the pension fund of St. Joe's Health Service was underfunded by the Diocese of Providence for many years prior to the sale of the hospital to Charter Care in 2014. It says unclear how many years from 2008 to 2014, but it says the bankruptcy of the pension fund impacts 2,800 people. Is the largest failure in Rhode Island history. Then it gives a little link where you can go to find out how bad things really are. And it says the Catholic Church and Diocese of Providence should be ashamed of themselves. And then it goes on to give you an idea of what the actual numbers are and how bad it really is there. But yet just the fact that it said it affects 2,800 people was something where I'm like, wow, that's a lot of people who are currently working and who are retired that will see some type of adjustment in payment, or, who knows how they're going to handle that there. But it's unfortunate news, but it's an isolated event, but gives you an idea of how serious this thing is really going to become. And if you're interested in reading more, feel free to read the link below. The next one here is from the NJ.com. And as I mentioned, it's a 2-minute video here that gives an idea of throughout the years how all the prior governors have deliberately avoided the idea of how bad the pensions were by contributing way far less than what was needed. And how, as of recently, Chris Christie is attempting to do some things. And it gives you an idea of, what he's done here. But yet the most intriguing, I think, was the fact that they tried to incorporate the lottery system as an asset into the whole pension system in and of itself. And so in doing so, it boosted some of their numbers according to how they calculate whether or not it's funded or not, the pensions there. But then if you scroll down a little bit lower, it talks about how it's an illusion for the most part of how it adds possibly 1 billion in revenue, but yet it falls short by several billion on the whole idea of trying to get the funds back up to where they need to be. It says the pension system looks stronger under the state-owned accounting methods, which consider the recent transfer of state pension lottery system a major boon in the funding ratio. It says Moody Investors Service likewise reported earlier this month that the transfer does not alter the burden of pensions on the state's credit profile. And so it says here the state lottery law guarantees that pensions will receive roughly $1 billion a year from ticket sales. It says the $1 billion revenue stream and a new law requiring the state make payments into the pension fund rather than close a fiscal year substantially reduce the possibility of large holdbacks of pension payments. And then it says here the New Jersey will take a 60% of the pension payment in the fiscal year of 100% in 2023. So basically it's going to continue to increase regardless of the, the small contributions that are being made and the incorporation of the pension, of the lottery system into the pension. So, more details there if you're interested, but yeah, just goes to show they're attempting to make some effort at trying to fund things, but yet it doesn't really matter what they do. In my opinion, they're too far in the hole for it to actually really count at this point. So more information there if you're interested in reading below. Then the very last article here is from the Paducah Sun, and it talks about how serious the whole pension crisis in Kentucky is. And what really stood out was some of the numbers. And it says here, it's a question being asked. It says, how big is Kentucky's pension problem? It says big. It can be fairly called a crisis. It says the latest official reports put Kentucky's pension debt at $33 billion plus $6 billion for retiree health plans. It says the number will go up to at least $43 billion because of new, more conservative assumptions adopted by the Kentucky retirement system plan this year. And it says about 500,000 people are impacted by this, of which 102 are actually retired and 135,000 are currently working and expecting some type of payout. And so it goes on to give more information as to how in depth and how bad it really is as far as the actual payments that's being received is about 20,000 or less. And yeah, so it's real detailed as far as, how bad Kentucky is. But yet this is just one state. And the prior article was, New Jersey, which is also bad. And then before that, it was one isolated event with the hospital. But this is what I really want to get to here. And this is from the United States Department of Labor. And so as of 2009, when the whole financial crisis situation hit, by law, a lot of states and everyone who does anything with the whole pension system in general was required to send out a notification letter updating beneficiaries on what is happening with their expected payments down the line. So here it goes down, as you see, all the way back to 2008 rather. And so ever since then, I'm going to click on it and you're going to see actually how bad it is with these letters. And just give you an idea, I would encourage you to read more for yourself on this, but to give you an idea of some of the letters that have gone out and to who they've gone to. And so here we have the Building Materials Drivers Union Local 436 Pension Fund. We have IBEW Local Pension, Local 810, Local 88, Local 966, Local 966 in Spanish. We have the New Bedford Fishermen's Pension Plan. We have Production Workers Pension Plan. So the list goes on and on and on of all the organizations and that has been required to send out notification letters. So here we have 30, 40, 46, 50, 50. Okay, so 57 total letters going out. It says pension plan for employees. So if I just click on one of them, it takes you even further and actually shows you what the letter is about and and it gives you an idea of what's going on inside. It talks about how critical status. And so it gives you a couple of words here to kind of give you an idea that it's really a crisis when they use the words endangered and critical to talk about the funds that's not there. And they letters, range from 1 page to 2 to 3 pages long. And everyone does a good job of trying to summarize how they've arrived at this point. And it all pinpoints to the whole financial crisis of 2008, 2009 with the stock market and how since then there hasn't been enough contributions to these pension plans to keep them up to date. So the letter goes on and on. I've read maybe 8 or 9 letters myself. And they all give a different idea of what and how bad the situation is. But you can just go down a list and see all the hundreds of letters. And so this is just the first round of letters that went out. And so there's been a lot more since then to really give an idea of, of the status of these pension plans here, but definitely something worth paying attention to. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention and let you know that there's a lot more about pensions that will not be covered mainstream. And I think these letters is a good indication of how bad it really is when you can actually read for yourself letters that were sent out to retirees as well as those currently working that, we should be alarmed. The fact that they may not be receiving what they're promised, and some of the recommendations in the letters is that they might cut back on payments, that there'll be no lump sum payouts and things like that. So they're attempting to inform people, but yet there's no real true solutions to how this is all going to be handled, other than the fact that there's a lot of promises that were made that will be reneged upon. So other than that, just a quick summary of what the pension crisis notification letters are, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this matter. Do you know of anyone that may have received one of these letters or received something of similar, and how are they taking it, how are they handling it, and whatnot? So definitely something near and dear to my heart, because I believe that this is just the beginning of what will be one of the most catastrophic events in modern day history, when all those receiving or expecting to receive pensions and retirement forms are disappointed at the fact that they won't receive what was promised to them. So other than that, hope all is well. Look forward to getting your comments and thoughts below. Look forward to bringing more news. Thanks.